All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome to a special video talking all about the Factions Galaxy release on Minecadia this Friday, June 30th at 5 p.m. EST. Obviously, the release is in about 2 days on Friday. Tonight at midnight is when all punishments are being wiped. So all active bans, mutes, and blacklists, except for chargeback blacklists, will be completely wiped. You guys can log on and have a good time. So I'm pretty much going to go over all of the updates about Factions Galaxy in this video. We did release a huge forums post yesterday, so if you do prefer to read rather than listen, then you can go check that out, because that's pretty much what this video is going to be about. That kind of has all the info, but I know a lot of people don't like reading, so I will be talking about it. All right, so again, first things first, release this Friday, June 30th at 5 p.m. EST, server IP MeeZoid.minecadia.com, and the Minecraft versions 1.8.9. Okay. So, pretty much, Factions Galaxy is the start of Phase 3 of Factions. So, every 10 maps is a new phase. There's Phase 1, which is the first 10. Phase 2 is the next 10. So, we're on like the 21st map, I think this is, which is the start of Phase 3. And we decided to completely rebrand, refresh, and just revamp everything. So, you can already tell a brand new realm name, Factions Galaxy. It's still the Factions Pirate rank set and stuff like that. So, that means if you had a rank on Factions Pirate or a G kit or something like that, you still have it, okay? It just rebranded. That's all it really is. So, like, Kraken rank is being rebranded to Divine, all that sort of stuff. You can see the scoreboard has a new design. But yeah, for the most part, a big part of our update is actually kind of rolling things back to a legacy state of Minecadia, which I know a lot of players have wanted and missed and stuff like that. There has been an incredible power creep on Minecadia over the past year or so, with like new items being released, all sort of stuff. So big rollback. It's going to make things a lot simpler and easier to understand, so a little bit easier to get into, and there's like a lot of new content as well. So first things first, 10-man factions, 1 ally, infinite roster is the faction sizes. It's a 4-week long map. 2 weeks of those weeks are grace period. So the first 2 weeks of the map, there's no TNT, no raiding, anything like that. And you guys can safely set up whether you're joining, just playing for fun, just playing the PvP, or you actually are making a base. So the first thing I'm going to go over is adventures. So if you've played Minecadia, you probably know what Expeditions is. Expeditions is now gone, okay? And it is replaced by this. Adventures is something that, in my opinion, I think is better. It's a lot more casual, laid back, and more fun. So I'm going to be explaining it. This is probably what the most of the video is going to be about, because this is the feature that I worked on the most, and it is I guess lengthy in explanation, but it is very simple. So first things first, go to the adventure NPC or type /adventure, and you can open up this UI. So it's going to give you your stats, a kind of breakdown of adventures, daily stats, all of these skills and warps, bonuses, collector, and skills. So pretty much what adventures is it's a separate world. It's a singular world right now. We're going to keep it that way if it works out well, which it should. With a bunch of different areas that you can actually grind up these skills. So you just saw those right there, what these skills are. We've got mining, fishing, slayer, farming, and woodcutting. Everyone starts at level 1 for each skill, and the maximum level for each skill is 100, okay? Each of these buttons are different warps to actually grind up the skills. So obviously, we've got caves for mining, we've got farms and lakes for both farming and fishing, we've got the wilderness, which is actually a PvP area. We'll talk about this later, though, because, we got some other stuff to cover. Forest, which is where woodcutting is, and the Slayer Tower, which is where Slayer is. As you guys know, Expeditions had 6 islands, okay? So 6 tiers of loot. There's Island 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We pretty much replicated that and converted it into this system. So now there are 6 tiers of resources that you can mine. When you mine a resource or you kill a mob, there is a percentage chance based on whatever skill you're doing, all scaled to be equal, by the way. So every skill is intended to be equal. But yeah, there's a percentage chance of you actually rolling a drop from that loot table. So if the feature Expeditions was still in the game, those loot tables are like the same loot tables in Adventure. So you can expect comparable loot, but just a brand new experience. So to access higher tiered resources, you pretty much just have to upgrade your skill level to these tiers. So there's levels, I guess every 20 levels is the easiest way to explain it, that you unlock a new tier. So from level 0 to 19, you're in tier 1, but from 20 to 39, you're in tier 2, from 40 to 59, you're in tier 3, from 60 to 79, you're in tier 4, from 80 to 99, you're in tier 5, and at level 100, you're at tier 6. So you can obviously tell when you have something unlocked if you look at the UI and there's a check mark next to it. It is really simple. Again, every 20 levels, you unlock the next resource. The thing is, though, you actually have to level up each skill equally. So what that means, for example, let's just say adventure set level. As we can see right here, I currently have level 19 in every single skill except Slayer, because as you can see, level 20, which would be tier 2, is locked. To access the next tier, all of your skills must reach level 19. So what this pretty much means, we have a limitation that you can only access the next tier of loot, as if you're accessing the next island on Expeditions, once you max out all your skills in the current tier that you're in. So that means when you want to get to tier 2, all of your skills have to be level 19 first. When you want to get to tier 3, they all have to be 39 to get to level 4, so on and so on. So the way that means, that just means that you can't just sit there and mine all day to level 100 and then access tier 6 through mining. You actually have to do every single skill. So I'll make it very, very clear from right now that it is not 5 times the work, okay? The time investment that you should expect between upgrading from like tier to tier is the same that you would expect at expeditions. And it actually might go by quicker because there are 5 skills and it's all divided up, and it might feel quicker. By the way, fly is enabled in the adventures. It's, like I said, very, very casual. You can bring any gear that you want into adventures. There's no restrictions. We don't, like, I know expeditions was cool that it had some restrictions, but I felt like that was honestly limiting and kind of discouraging to actually play it. You can bring anything you want here, okay? There's no limits at all. The only limit is that haste is disabled in this world, because that does kind of destabilize, you know, mining wood with an E5, so an insta break. So that's not allowed. It's just not possible. But yeah, so this is what it's like. Pretty much, you mine coal, you get XP for it. You can see we got a reward right away. We rolled a reward right away. But yeah, pretty much the time investment, you can see we are just getting money. We are getting rewards here. Every time a reward procs, you can get between 1 to 3 rewards, just like Expeditions is. And you can see, yeah, we're just getting some rewards. We can go back into the adventures menu. We can go to the farms and lakes. So I probably won't show like every single thing. But yeah, here's farming. So if I just get a diamond hoe and I mine it, you can see I get XP, and that's all really. And then if I mine a ton of these, I'll eventually roll a drop, because that's how it works. You can see I got one right there. But yeah, over here we got the stone lake, which is the first lake you have access to. So this is not vanilla fishing, because I know vanilla fishing is very slow. This is actually a custom fishing system. You can see we have our little progress bar right there, and you kind of just wait for it to go. And it is a random time. There's like a range of how long it'll take, so it's not the same amount of time every time. But yeah, you can get rewards, you get XP. What I will also say though is that you need more than just the levels to actually access the upgraded tiers. What you actually have to do is upgrade your armor, or not really armor, your weapons and your tools. Okay, so adventure stars, that is actually the tier system. So if I bring this out right here, this is by default any normal like item you have is a tier 1 tool. To actually upgrade it, you'll go to the adventure menu, click the collector, and go to equipment upgrades. And while you're holding it, you can upgrade it with this thing called Stardust. So Stardust is given to you while you're grinding. It's not hard to get at all. I'm pretty sure actually for season 1, when we release this feature, we're gonna kind of make it like a back end thing that like everyone's gonna have enough of. It's not gonna be super rare, because we got to figure out how to balance it. I still have to do that part of it, but pretty much you get it while you're grinding every single time. So it's kind of like XP, but just like a currency, and you spend that to upgrade your tiers like that. So adventure stars, you can see I upgrade this all the way to level 6. That means I can go all the way to tier 6. Okay, same thing with their sword, any other tool, it works the exact same way. When you upgrade your armor though, that actually affects PvP in the wilderness only, which again, the wilderness is a special spot in this world. It's not like, you know, the wilderness of overworld. It's just like, it's just the area that it's called. So what that'll do, for every star on your armor while you're in the wilderness, you get plus 1% damage resistance. And that doesn't include the base star. So that means you can have 5 upgrades per piece, which means 5 times 4 is a 20% damage resistance boost, or I guess like minus 20% incoming damage. Again, this is all explained on the forums post. I know I'm going all over the place, but hopefully it's a little bit easier to understand. And on the flip, same thing with the sword. When you upgrade your sword, that also gives you a damage boost in the wilderness. So a 6-star would be a 20% damage boost. There is a backpack feature in here, so when you do get stuff, it will go in your adventure backpack. However, it is not unlimited space. You do have limited space, but this can luckily be increased in the backpack upgrade of the collector, so you could upgrade it like this. Again, all these prices, these ones aren't final, those will change. Everything else is pretty much final though. But yeah, that's how it works. So you can see right here, E5 pickaxe or axe, mine this, it'll turn into leaves and it'll regenerate. So again, that means you guys are going to want to have E5s for your tools, which is actually really just the pickaxe and the axe. A hoe is required to mine anything for farming, so you can't use an axe on pumpkins or melons or anything like that. You have to use a hoe. Fishing rod, it doesn't matter if you have enchants on it, because again, it's a custom coded fishing system. And then Slayer, obviously you want sharp 5. Now to talk about the wilderness, I haven't really showed this off. I did show off, let me just show you guys the Slayer Tower. So Slayer Tower, you can see there's just some mobs here. Again, look, they are not expedition mobs. Obviously, look, you cannot damage the mobs unless you're using the right tool. Okay, so you got to use the sword. And right here, we can kill it. Very easy. They're just very easy. But again, we are using the highest star sword, which does increase damage, by the way, if that wasn't clear already. So yeah, you kind of just kill this. You can see I'm not the required level to actually damage the Enderman, because I have level 19 Slayer, so we're not gonna be able to do that. Moving on from here, though, you kind of just keep going forward to the Slayer Tower, which is over here. There's like 2 entrances. There's one over there, and then there's one over here. So those are the tier 1 and 2 mobs. Then when you get to the Slayer Tower, you're going to start seeing tier 3, which is magma cubes. Right around here they should spawn. There they are. Again, they don't have any abilities or anything like that, so it's just regular fighting them. Up here, again, tier 3s right here. Up here is tier 4s, which are blazes. And then when you go on top of the roof in the attic is the tier 5 endermites, which are a little annoying to kill because, you know, they're tiny, but very easy. And they get the tier 5 loot table. And then all the tier 6 stuff, which I'm going to show off now, is in the wilderness. So when you go to the wilderness, beyond this point is where the PvP is enabled. So you can only access the wilderness when you have one skill, at least one skill tier 6. So what that means, because obviously if you have at least one skill tier 6, that means that you have the rest of your skills at level 99 or higher, okay? Because it's not possible to get a tier 6 skill unless you have, you know, all your previous skills at level 99, which is tier 5. But yeah, pretty much you can see right here that you cannot enter it without reaching tier 6. There's just no way to enter it. You can't TP into it, nothing like that. So if I just, you know, set myself to level 100, so now we have level 100 Slayer, we should be able to access the wilderness. And in here, PvP is enabled. You find the tier 6 mobs, which are these iron golems. Again, super easy to kill. Just 3-shot them. And we haven't gotten a reward yet, but eventually we will. Flying will be disabled in here, by the way. I'm just opt, obviously. That's that. Then if you go around the area, you'll find the tier 6 tree right here. There's a bunch of them. The acacia wood is the tier 6 tree. Go down into the caves, you'll find the diamonds, which is the tier 6 mining resource right there. And then if you go around, you should find nether wart, which I think is like over here. Right there, there's a tier 6 farm resource. That's the bedrock lake where you can get the tier 6 fishing. So that's like all the skills. Again, really cool. We're gonna add like waypoints for everything as well, for lunar client users, so there's just no confusion. But eventually people will learn to understand this map. We won't be like changing this map up like super drastically every map. Like we might retheme it, but it's gonna be pretty much the same. So once people start to learn it, they should be okay with it. And again, you can fly everywhere except the PvP arena, so that'll make it a little bit easier for you guys to kind of explore. The next new feature is called planets. I can't actually show you it right now. I don't think all the worlds are imported, but pretty much there are new planets, which again are just kind of warps. Okay, they're worlds within the factions realm that you can go to that have different characteristics. So what I'll say is overworld's obviously, you know, the same as always. Sahara is the same as that. That's pretty much desert. The only difference is it's a smaller world. The world border is at 5,000 blocks. The next planet is called Namek, which is printer enabled, sandbots disabled, the mob and farming drop rates are 80%. There is a faction member limit of only 8 members being allowed at the planet at one time within your faction. Regeneration walls are allowed, and the world border is at 4,000. The meadow planet, printer is disabled, sandbots is disabled, mob and farming drop rates are 60% of normal. The faction member limit is only 5. Regenerations are disabled. Stronghold, there's a nature stronghold, which gives you some nice rewards that you can look at. And then there's a world border at 3,000. So you can kind of see what I'm going with this. Like each world has these different characteristics, which either make it harder or easier based on the perspective you have. But for example, like obviously this one you can only have 5 members at the world at one time from your faction. Printers disabled, that makes it super hard to build bases. Regeneration walls are disabled, makes it also really hard to protect against raiding. But mob and farming drop rates are 60%. So there's that downside for those trade-offs, I guess, based on your perspective. And then my favorite world, the Titan world, printers disabled, sandbots are disabled, mob and farming drop rates are 80%. The faction member limit is also 5, but TNT is enabled 24/7. So no matter what, TNT is always enabled. Regeneration walls are disabled, and slash fly is also disabled. The only fly that's enabled is F fly, which I believe is just only flying within your claim, and is a 2,000 world border world. So it's pretty small, but it's pretty hardcore, as in there being, you know, TNT enabled always. It should be pretty interesting. If you want to like read the full description of every single world, again, refer to the forums post. F-top, we changed it. F-top is now dictated by faction value once again. So value is the most important statistic. That's who wins the map, I guess you would say, and it's based off of current value. The potential value system still exists, and faction points still exist, but they're not the same at all. They're actually based off of only PvP point triggers, kind of like PvP top. If you played the last 2 maps, I believe we have this thing called PvP top, which is pretty much is a point system that is only affected by PvP. Like you can't lose points by getting raided or anything like that. So we actually converted faction points to that. So if we go to F-top and we go to faction points, the only things that give you faction points are competitive events and kills and holding outposts and stuff like that. So that does mean that faction cores are no longer a thing. So there's no like rating a core or anything like that. It's literally just based off of faction value, as well as faction points is its own leaderboard, which is just PvP points and stuff like that, with its own like payout system. Again, these payouts are like store gift cards and stuff like that. So, you know, each has their own, but the winner of the map is based off of faction value. And again, I did check this. Yeah, raid outposts will be removed from here. And I think we also need to add the death trigger so that you can only lose points from dying. Okay, there's no more raiding cores and taking points. All right, moving on to the revamped end. So the end, if you guys remember, I did that Citadel video, which was really fun. And it was like with vanilla enchants. We noticed that there's like a lot more competition when stuff is vanilla. So the end is now completely vanilla at all times. So no armor sets allowed, only 2 pets allowed, no star items or balloons, no strength and no regen. So that means no strength pots, no regen pots anymore. Speed 2 is the maximum speed, and obviously no access to PV, shop, sell, anything like that. You can only go through exit. So it's literally just a competitive vanilla region that's going to have all the events in it. So that means there's going to be Koth, Conquest, Citadel, Capture the Flag, Secure the Ship, Destroy the Core, Hardpoint, all sort of stuff. That's all going to be there for the entire map. So Massacre also disabled. I think I had some other stuff written down, like we made it so the chicken pet works. That was a bug that was messed up there. Crew effects do not affect the end, like they don't transfer to the end. Disguise potions are disabled in the end. Any effects like from squad events, warzone bosses, strongholds, or outposts do not affect the end. End of pro cooldown will remain even if it gets refunded in Citadel, so people can't use it as like a rod. Death bans are always enabled in the region, so the end system with like the Ender Blade and Enderman is removed. It's literally just a zone for PvP and competitive events. We added the warzone boss system from Cobra. As you guys remember, that was the one where like a random warzone boss would spawn in the warzone, and then the faction that gets the last hit on it gets a benefit for 1 hour. So there's the ocean one, which gives +2 hearts for an hour. The infernal one gives you plus 10% outgoing damage for an hour. Mountain Stomper gives you minus 10% incoming damage. The Cloud Rider gives you perm regen, and the Elder Dragon gives you all of those for 1 hour. So all those effects only last for 1 hour. We added an arcade pass feature. So if you get banned in the arcade or because of PvPing in the arcade, you will lose your arcade pass, and it must be reacquired through the gold shop or our store. So that is like a deterrent for cheaters. Crew events. Well, crews got rebranded, or actually, I'm sorry, reverted back to their legacy state where you just choose a crew and get an effect with it, which does mean that crew events got changed. They are now squad events, which are the same events themselves, but the only people that get the benefits of winning them are the winners of like the actual people that participate in the event. But it's like the same thing. It's randomized teams as soon as you join squad events, which are some really cool things. If I do such squad events, I think is what it is. Yeah, there's the Squad Royale, Squad FFA, Squad Classic FFA, and Squad Koth, which are you just work with a random team that you get assigned, and the winners get some benefits like some stuff for an hour. We are going to have a unique end of the world event today at 5 p.m. EST. I hope to see you guys there. Definitely be online for that. It will be unique. I guess I'll just give a little spoiler. It's like my inspiration for it was like a Fortnite event when they move seasons. So be online for it. It should be, I guess, something unique. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how it's going to go. And there's a ton of vaults and changes. So I'll quickly go through this as fast as I can. Expeditions vaulted, dungeons vaulted, dual leaderboards and queues have been vaulted, Flying Dutchman vaulted, all ranks have been renamed, all armor sets are vaulted except Pirate, Orc, and Koth, and Pirate and Orc were renamed to Phantom and Goblin. There are some boss changes, like the Corrupted Spider was renamed, Treasure Goblin has been implemented, the Undead Sailor has been rebranded to Undead Astronaut, the Lost Titan has been moved to Mythic and rebranded to the Wandering Martian, and then 2 legendary bosses have been added, the Magma Queen and the Hydra Lord. Crew tree has been vaulted, randomized sorting has been vaulted for crews, the legacy crews have returned with all their stuff. The only star items in the game are Flaming Hollow, Grappler, Chroma, Prot 5 upgrade, and the Golden Knife. Enchants, a ton of them were vaulted. I'm not going to read out all of them, so honestly refer to the document for this one. Pets, the only pets in the game are Silverfish Pet, Wolf Pet, Pig Pet, Demon Slayer, Chicken, Slime, Iron Golem, Experience, Kraken, Thor Pet, which is a new one. You cast a powerful lightning onto foes surrounding you and freezing / damaging them. 2 seasonal pets, which is the Shillings Pet and the Beach Ball Pet, and then 2 cursed pets, the Wizard Pet and the Cage Pet. There are a few masks in the game: Agent Mask, Davy Jones Mask, Corruptor Mask, Ghost Mask, Tinker Mask, Zoid Mask, Speedster Mask, which is a new one. And then the multi-mask has been made also rare in loot tables. And there's just like a bunch of other stuff in the changelog that you guys probably want to read. It's like small miscellaneous stuff, but it's not like super important to say. There's changes to the chapters. Obviously, since we vaulted dungeons, we have to like, replace that. We replaced it with an adventure chapter, I believe. There's some balloon changes, some partner item changes, economy changes, the fund changes, outpost and stronghold had some changes, Citadel and Conquest had some changes. We added lunar client faction tags that are toggleable with /no nodes. There's some general changes. There's some rule changes that are coming out. And we opened up the canon server for everyone. Okay, that's like everything on the forums post. That's like the main stuff in the update, but so much is going on with the update. So I hope to see you guys there for the release. Again, you can comment some questions down below if I didn't explain something well enough or you just want more clarification. But I'm looking forward to the release. So I will see you guys this Friday, June 30th at 5 p.m. EST on MeeZoid.minecadia.com. Peace out.